In this video, I'm talking all about acquiring new camera equipment, why you should invest in yourself, and how you can invest in camera equipment. So let's get right into the video. Hey, what's up? It's Chris from Brooker Films, and yes, in today's video, I'm talking all about investing in camera equipment, how that helps you, how you can do it, and why you should do it. Now, let me begin by talking about the elephant in the room, and that is cameras are expensive, and it seems the higher you climb the filmmaking ladder, the more expensive the camera equipment gets. Now, if we look at the top cameras like Arri and Red, they're going to cost you around 50, 60, 70,000 pounds. And if you think about that, that is a lot more than a mortgage for a house. You could buy multiple cars for that amount of money. But investing in camera equipment can be a great return on investment. Now, it doesn't matter how little or how much money you have to invest in a camera. Purchasing a camera is really good for one specific reason, and it shows to yourself and to everybody else that you're serious about what you're doing. If you drop 500 or 5,000 pounds on a potential camera, then it's going to show to potential clients that you're serious about what you do. And it also gives you the flexibility of being able to shoot whenever you need to shoot a project. A lot of people ask the question, why can't you just rent a camera? Sure, you can rent a camera, but the problem is with renting a camera is you're always going to have to pay to borrow the camera, and it means you're going to have to be restricted to when the rental house can provide a camera. Whereas if you own the camera, you can shoot whenever you like. You don't have to pay the rental fees all the time you use the camera. You just pay for the camera in the beginning and then it's yours for eternity. And that gives you a whole world of flexibility and freedom. It means if you get called for a last minute shoot and you have a camera, you can go to the shoot. But if you've got to go to a rental house and they don't have the camera that you need, then you're going to have to say no to the job. You're going to miss the job and that will damage your reputation as a filmmaker. So simply having a camera is great because it shows you're serious and it gives you flexibility when it comes to accepting jobs. Owning a camera is really awesome as well because it gives you time to practice and learn and invest in your skills as a filmmaker. If you're simply renting a camera for a job, you've got the camera for the 1 day or the 2 days or the 3 days you've borrowed it for, you shoot the project, you take the camera back, and you don't see the camera again until the next project. But when you own a camera, yes, you can go out and shoot those projects, but in between those few projects that you might get, you can practice new techniques that you've learned from the internet. You can try some new camera moves, try an awesome way of telling a story. You've got all this time to practice with your camera to improve your skills as a filmmaker. And that is probably one of the most important reasons why you should own a camera. Owning a camera gives you that flexibility to go and shoot whenever you want to shoot. Practice makes perfect. The more practice you put into something, the better you become at that thing, and the better you become at it, the more valuable you become. If you're highly skilled and highly knowledgeable, then people are going to pay for that skill and knowledge, which means you're going to have a more successful filmmaking career. So yes, owning a camera is great and I would seriously recommend it. But how on earth do you begin to own equipment? And it's really daunting when you look at professionals shooting with equipment that is 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 pounds because it's just so out of reach. Let's say if you're a part-time videographer, you're trying to make it full-time, but you have to work in retail to pay your bills. How on earth are you going to find the money to make an investment of like 10,000 pounds into equipment? Well, the simple answer is you don't straight away. You start small and you build up piece by piece. So when I began making films, I really wanted a camera, but I didn't have the money for an amazing cinema camera. So instead, I got this. It's this really, really bad point and shoot video camera. I think the maximum resolution is 360p. It cost about £80 at the time. This thing is honestly awful. The more I started to film with this camera, the more I realized that I thoroughly enjoyed filmmaking and I really wanted to up my game as a filmmaker. So I worked my absolute hardest to save as much money as possible. And sure enough, after a year or two, I upgraded to the Canon 1100D, which is an entry-level digital SLR camera from Canon. I think the max resolution was 720p, but again, it was a small step up. And after that, it was the 550D, then it was the 5D, now it's the Sony FS7, and I'm currently in the process of looking for the upgrade from my Sony FS7. So it's just a case of starting small and building up over time. The more jobs you get, the more money you get, the more money you can put into savings, and the more savings you have, the more money you can afford to spend on camera equipment. Now, before I invested in the Sony FS7, I was shooting on the Canon 5D Mark III. And when I bought this camera at the time, it felt like a really stupid investment, but it really helped to unlock the door and enabled me to start working with some really awesome companies and brands. But the problem is, when I was working with these companies and brands, I was also at university, which means I was living away from home, I had bills to pay, I had debts to pay, and it simply meant that I didn't have spare money to save up for a new camera. So after a few years of operating this, I decided to take out a bank loan to buy the Sony FS7, which at the time was really scary, but it gave me enough fire underneath me to know that I had to land jobs, I had to work my hardest to get the money to pay the bank back for the camera that I purchased. And fortunately, it's helped out a lot. Since purchasing the Sony FS7, I've landed better jobs, higher paying jobs, and more frequent jobs. This of course means that over time I've been able to pay off the loan from the bank. It means that I've been able to pay for my rent and daily bills through filmmaking alone. And it means that I've also been able to shovel money away into a savings account ready to go and get the next investment. So yes, buying camera equipment is a really important part of being a filmmaker, especially if you're a camera operator. But my advice to you is do not stress about not having the most expensive camera. Just purchase what you can for now, purchase the best camera that you can at the current point in your career. And slowly but surely, over time, you'll earn more money and you'll be able to invest more money into your camera equipment, and you'll constantly be able to step up your gear list. So yes, invest in yourself, invest in your camera equipment, especially if you're a camera operator, but more importantly, invest in your skills as a filmmaker. And that combination of having a great camera and a great set of skills will really take you far in this industry. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. And if you did, then please do let me know in that comment section below. And of course, if you're subscribed, then I will see you on the next video. See you there.